Try it now. Testing. Testing, Scott. Good evening. Please be aware that we have a new public video and photography section located in the back corner of this room. We have it marked with a sign. Anyone who would like to record can do so from there or from your seat. We ask that you please do not come up to the podium to record a speaker. I want to remind you of the norms of respectful behavior. 1, use respectful language. 2, be respectful of all speakers. 3, do not cause disruptions. 4, adhere to time limits. At this point, for closed session, we have nothing to share out. And so we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Everyone stand. Thank you. At this point, a public report of action is taken in closed session. A settlement with the final defendants in the Juul e-cigarette litigation has been reached. The Altria Group Incorporated have proposed $168,250,000 government entity settlement. The board unanimously voted to accept $119,455 of the proposed settlements. At this point, we will have student representatives. We'll start with Isabella Moreno from Surfside, please.
Just another beautiful day at Surfside Educational Academy. Good evening, Board President Alvarez, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Vitale. I'm Bella Moreno from Surfside Educational Academy, and I'm excited to share some updates on what's happening at Surfside. And here are my lovely parents. On September 14th, Surfside had a super successful back-to-school night. One of our wonderful parents remarked, "I am so glad we found your school. It's a hidden gem, and we love Surfside." We are so proud of our October Rising Star, Delphina. Delphina is a fierce thinker, a quick learner, and a passionate person. As a senior and a mom, Delphina is on track to graduate a semester early. Congratulations, Delphina. Congratulations to Anthony Avila on being one of several Surfside's first early grads of the year. Anthony is graduating 8 months early and is planning on joining the Navy in July. Stay tuned for more updates on our amazing early graduates. Our Surfside Elementary scholars set minimum word goals for their writing, and we are happy to report that every student has exceeded their writing goals. Surfside students attended the annual Barrio Empowerment through Education Conference at Miracosta College. They listened to a keynote speaker, empowerment comedian, Ernie G. They listened and participated in inspirational and informational workshops. In recognition of Dia de los Muertos, our art students created amazing projects. They started with concrete, molded into traditional skulls, planned the final design, and then painted them. Here on our next slide is some of the awesome final projects from our Dia de los Muertos. Our Sharks continue to improve their skills and gain knowledge as we progress through the season. According to Coach Lee, the team has shown great growth and improvement. Here is a list of the Surfside clubs. This month we are highlighting the I Love Cosmetics Club. I Love Cosmetics Club is a new club where students learn about cosmetics, business tips, and empowerment and team building skills. Recommended beauty experts will also come in to share their experiences with our members. Students will also develop their own products with a brand and a logo. On September 26th, we had our first Surfside Spirit Day of the year. We showed our school spirit by celebrating all the different styles in past decades. Students and staff picked their favorite decade and dressed their best. It was a fun day. Thank you for listening to to our Surfside updates. Have a great evening and go Sharks!
Thank you, Next, we'll call Natalie Lobanus from El Camino High School, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to Board President Alvarez and the rest of the board members, and to Superintendent Dr. Vitale and her executive staff for giving me the time to speak tonight. My name is Natalie Lopez, and I'm the ASB President and Student Representative at El Camino High School. First up, our first club highlight, the ECHS Environmental Club has already performed 2 service events. First, working at the El Corazon during habitation restoration in partnership with the Friends of El Corazon in the city of Oceanside. And second, cleaning up the Quarry Creek area as part of the I Love a Clean San Diego. Thank you to club advisors Ms. King and Mrs. Taka. Homecoming 2023. Shout out to our amazing ASB crew and Mr. Gerard for planning all the amazing spirit weeks, the pep rallies, and our awesome homecoming halftime show. We had Spirit Days featuring Jersey Day, featuring our amazing principal, Miss Fraser, and her 2 children. And congratulations to our staff royalty, Al Rollins, Jennifer Serta, and attendance clerk, Ann Nash. And congratulations to our student royalty, Devin Sutter Johnson, and Frida Torres. ECHS September Rising Star, Jacqueline Martinez Cortez. Jacqueline is an amazing young woman with lots of perseverance. As with most of young people today, she has told her share of challenges, as Jackie, as her friends call her, has known to become over many obstacles. She's part of the Hermanas program, and the program leader, Mrs. Guzman, says that she's very proud of Jackie, and she knows that she'll accomplish her goals, and is a great leader in her community. Our music program is one of the best. Band and Color Guard went to these amazing middle schools, Chavez and King, to promote our Band and Color Guard program. Several students from each school went down to watch Band and Color Guard during their performance. We hope that this will inspire the future students that will come to El Camino to participate in our Band and Color Guard program. Honoring 2 longtime Wildcats, we recently lost 2 members of our Wildcat family. Coach Joe Kalina was a coach and a substitute at ECHS for 29 years. And Mr. Casey Montalulu was a graduate at El Camino and was a coach for many years and recently served as an ECHS campus supervision assistant. And congratulations on a perfect AP score. Please join us in congratulating 2 Wildcat scholars as they are part of the elite group of students in the world that earns every single point possible on the AP test. Thank you. So, congratulations to Christopher H. and William B. on their amazing scores. And thank you everyone for their time.
Thank you, Natalie. Now may I have Lily Fussell and Isaiah McKellar from Oceanside High School.
Good evening, Dr. Vitale, President Alvarez, and other board members. My name is Liliana Yussel. I'm the Community Relations Commissioner, and this is Isaiah McKellar. And we are representing Oceanside tonight. We've recently had the ASB CATA conference to gain ideas and information about the best ways to involve students with the school. The student part of the month to highlight high-achieving parts and set an example for other fellow students. We recently also had the OUSD Club Rush, which featured over 28 clubs in order to get pirates involved on campus and network within the community. And many more events for pirates to prepare for the future and give recognition to everyone in the pirate family. These are some photos that were taken at the ASB CATA conference and the Army Cougar Fair. On October 2nd, pirates expressed their custodial appreciation with fun posters and chalk art all over campus.
On this slide, it shows all the activities and events that are Club Rush. We had over 25 clubs, and we had 25 clubs in attendance to give each and every student a chance to find something to enjoy.
We also had the College Access Conference to educate parents and their families about paths after high school.
This is the Marine Corps JROTC program. Our head competed against 29 other schools and got really wins.
OHS wanted to spread the Pirate Pride and recognize both our September as well as our October rising stars, Genevieve and Amanda. Also our Pirates of the Month, who were selected as overachievers in their advisory periods. These are our September Pirates of the Month. Some events Oceanside has coming up is our Wellness Center grand opening on 10/12 to aid students who may lack certain resources. All week long, we have fun spirit days, games, and activities to raise excitement for our homecoming game and dance on Friday and Saturday night. Today was Country Day versus Country Club. Recognition Assembly on 10/18 and 10/25, our Staff Appreciation Breakfast, Gerard Prep events, and on 10/27, our football senior night against Valley City, and our spectacular at the end of the month. Thank you, respected board members, for your time. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go for approval of agenda. We'll call for a vote. Do I hear a motion to approve item 8? First and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Move on to 3, board reports. We'll start with superintendent report, please.
Yeah, I just have a brief acknowledgement, but first I'd like to thank the students for sharing the incredible things going on at our high schools and the achievement of our students and the success that they're having. So thank you so much. You all did a great job sharing what's going on. And the dancing shark doing the Macarena was the cutest thing I've ever seen. So thank you for that. And I also want to acknowledge we had the good fortune to attend the NAACP Blue and Gold traditional awards ceremony on Saturday night. And our very own Dr. Richard Lawrence was acknowledged for the Education Ambassador Award. And I just wanted to acknowledge you again here, Dr. Lawrence, and say thank you for your incredible work so that we can give you a round of applause.
And we will start with our board reports, and we will go with Nancy, please.
No report tonight.
I do have a report that has been shared, so I'll pass.
And we'll go with Mike.
I did my report to Ann.
I gave my report to Ann, but I just wanted to give a shout out. Last night I went to El Camino High School and got to watch the very talented music teacher Daniel James and his jazz band and the string orchestra, and it was amazing last night. So he did a great job. That was my highlight.
And I returned in my report too, so there's nothing to report out at this time. Just want to thank all our staff for being here and for the continued work with our students. This one will move forward to public comments on agenda. Oh, sorry, hold up. I'm so sorry. And we have Tiffany.
I'm like Prince and Madonna, just my name. Okay, good evening. I passed out papers. I'm hoping that you all have them by now. Good evening, President Alvarez, trustees, Superintendent Vitale, cabinet colleagues, and community members. I am Tiffany, also in Ortega, and I'm honored to represent the teachers of OUSD as the president of Oceanside Teachers Association. I know that I don't need to remind you, but we are partners, not just labor partners, but real partners in this unified school district. members support this school board and this cabinet in curriculum implementation, data collection, problem solving, keeping our district fiscally solvent, and as partners for doing what is right for the students and communities of Oceanside. We support the district. We support diversity, equity, and inclusion. We support updated and bias-free curriculum. We support OUSD students in both their personal and educational pursuits. We support resources for our Oceanside community, where our schools are the touch point and nucleus for these resources. We supported this district's efforts to get out of qualified status with SCCOE. We support district leadership and our OUSD school board, but now we need you to support us. We need you to support us because there has been a trend here in Oceanside that shows a smaller and smaller percentage of the growing OUSD budget is being added to salaries of the people that support OUSD, its students, and its communities. Please take a look at the paper that I shared with you. These numbers come directly from your OUSD unaudited actuals. Now, I know the tendency is to look at the dollar amounts. Fine, feel free. However, the story is found in the percentages, which have been highlighted for you. I don't have a color printer, I actually highlighted them all. Let's start with salaries for bargaining units, specifically certificated teachers and admin. You'll notice that the percentage of the total outgo for OUSD that is spent on certificated teacher salaries has decreased by almost 4% in 5 years, sorry. So I like pie. When I was in elementary, and when I was in the elementary classroom, the easiest way to help students visualize fractions and percentages of a whole was to use the pie analogy. So please don't think I'm being condescending to you. I'm using the comprehension tools available to me. Therefore, let's think of OUSD's budget as one big round pie. When we receive monies from the state through COLA or other funding decreases, so does the size of our budget pie. However, for statutory and mandated costs, their percentage should rarely change, even though the pie itself may grow to a record size or a pot pie. Percentages should be similar. So back to salaries. You'll find that although the pie is growing in size, the percentage that's earmarked for certificated salaries is smaller yearly. Our slice of the pie is getting smaller. If you look at the line items that are designated for admin salaries, that percentage is growing yearly. That admin slice of pie is getting bigger. The next item that I shared deals specifically with the cost of health benefits only. There's other costs, STRS, etc. I'm not denying that. Strictly health benefits. You can see that the percentage of the OUSD budget that funds our healthcare has remained fairly stable. In fact, the amount budgeted for healthcare in this adopted budget is 0.5% less than it was 5 years ago. Don't look at the number, look at the percentage. That has remained virtually unchanged. There is no urgency to address healthcare encroaching on the general fund based on those numbers. Finally, on the back side of the paper, you'll see the combined amounts for salary and benefits for all bargaining units. Drawing your attention again to those percentages, School Services of California, who would be considered conservative, at least by me, with budgeting, suggests guidance of 85 to 90% of a district's budget should be spent on salaries and health care. The people of a district. Look closely at ours. 5 years ago, OUSD spent 86.8% of the total outgo on salaries and benefits, supporting those people of Oceanside. You can see the numbers. The last year that we have unaudited actuals for was 22-23, and only 81.02% of OUSD's total outgo was spent on salaries and health care. We are spending less on the people who support this district. So finally, I've included a bar graph. I won't say anything about highlight bars too. I thought it was inappropriate in this. I've included a bar graph that shows where we rank with not only some of our comparable districts, but also the ones that we always seem to hear about. We don't want to be where we are on that list. We don't want to be worrying about retaining teachers. We don't want to worry that OUSD will have a problem recruiting new and highly qualified teachers. We don't want to wonder if we are your priority. We're asking you to show us that we are your priority, that the people of Oceanside Unified are your priority. So show us that you support our work, show that you support the people of OUSD by funding their salaries appropriately. Thank you.
point time, we'll go to public comments on agendized items. During this portion of the meeting, individual speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes total to address the board on agenda items, including items on the consent agenda. However, the total amount of time for public input may be limited to 20 minutes, while the total time per speaker for a given topic may be slightly reduced in certain circumstances. All persons wishing to address the board will have a meaningful opportunity to do so during this meeting. An individual may only turn in one public comment per comment card for the public comments on agendized items. A quick reminder of the norms are: use respectful language, be respectful of all speakers, do not cause disruptions, and adhere to time limits. Thank you.
Yes. We have a total of 6 people to speak on agenda items. The first 3 is Kathy Seward, Laurel Napoleon Hill, and Michael Richardson.
Good evening, my name is Kathy Stewart. I'm the Library Media Tech for Kristen McCullough Elementary. Our job description is on the agenda tonight, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about that and what's been going on in the library. Our job description is from 2000, so 23 years ago. It was for a 40-hour-a-week position, and now the one that is on your agenda tonight has been worked, and we are only 30 hours. Our job hours were never restored, but nothing was really taken off of our plate from 23 years ago. And it's been a challenge because the waters were really muddied with devices. When we went to a one-to-one device program, Library Media Tech stood in that gap and really handled that, and now they're going to go another way with that, but it never took away from the fact that we're still only 30 hours doing a 40-hour-a-week job. And we looked at it also as far as salaries in other districts, and 9 other districts start their LMTs at a higher salary point than we start ours. Well, they range from 40 cents more to $4.21 more an hour for the job that we're doing. And those were the kind of things that we weren't really able to bring up with the Personnel Commission, because devices were just muddying the water. That was all that anyone could look at or talk about. Are we doing it? Are we not? But now that they've made a decision to purchase computer programs that are going to handle devices in another way, we're still down to the nitty-gritty of our 40-hour job being done in 30 hours. I think at one point, HR might have been told that we don't want more hours. That was incorrect. We would like to be at least restored up to 35, which would give us 7 hours a day. And then we're also looking at, we would like to be more in line with what other school districts are paying their library media techs. And even looking at our library media science family, the media services technician are a step higher than the library techs. And the media services technicians are just at the high school, and they only work with textbooks, and they do some other functionalities, but they don't run a whole library for the school. And so the library techs really support the students. We are the library for the majority of our students. We do have a wonderful Oceanside library, but for the majority of our students, their school library is their library. And we would like that library to be supported.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Laurel Napoleon Hill, and I am an LMT at Laurel. So I am here again also to talk about this job description. And we were not offered more hours or a step increase. One of the things we were told repeatedly was that a step increase would not be warranted unless our job was more complex. And just the sheer fact that 23 years have gone by, technology that's used in the library is more complex. However, instead of honoring the LMTs for years of dedication, hard work, and all of that hard work, instead of giving us an offer for a step increase or more hours, the complexity that naturally evolved with the advancement of technology should have been enough. However, IT and HR have decided that they will present their recommendation that the district discontinues the system already in use for 2 new systems. At our meeting with the Personnel Commission, I sat and listened to Mr. Gravelin talk about this 2 new programs that we are going to implement throughout the district for a touchless deployment. And I turned to him, because he sat right next to us, and asked him, after he explained his intensive research, what the cost of implementing these 2 programs would be to the district. And he looked at me, and remember your comment, Mr. Rabbit? After you left, your comment was, I don't remember. So I ask you, please do your research and find out how much these new programs are going to cost the district. Because let me tell you, we did not ask for that to be taken away. But had you respected us and given us just a 2-step increase, which is less than $1, the 184 days a year that we work times the 6 hours per day would be 1,104 hours a year. Next year, we're going to get an extra day, so we will have 185 like all the other employees. However, that $1,104 per year times the 20 LMTs would have been a total of $22,080. I bet those 2 programs cost more than that. So thank you. Please do your research when you go ahead and implement these 2 programs. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello again. We have studied many of these agendas over the last few years, and there were always countless expenditures of millions of dollars for everything the district uses, including tonight's warrant list authorizing over $9 million to hundreds of vendors. There is no way that we can research the justification for each of these expenditures, so we have to depend on you. You, our elected representatives, to do our due diligence for us. But we have no faith, zero faith, that you will do your duty to protect us from the incompetence and corruption of this regime. Take item 5R as an example. It calls for spending almost $84,000 to, and I quote, remove and dispose of expired hand sanitizer and expired cleaning supplies. Everyone knows that these soaps don't become explosive or poisonous or radioactive when they reach that arbitrary expiration date, a date designed to protect the supplier from liability and to ensure reorders. So why spend $84,000 to dispose of it? Why not just give it away? Why not repurpose it or bury it? I have an offer for you. I have a truck. I will haul it away for free. Not $84,000, but for free. The total lack of accountability and resourcefulness of this regime boggles the mind. I know why. It's because you don't care.
Amen.
Because it's not your money. Until we get a board that cares about each and every dollar spent like it was their own money, we will continue to fail our kids. and to cheat the taxpayers who foot the bill. Andrea, if this was your $84,000, is this how you would spend it? Or would you buy a new car?
Next three speakers, Emily Richmond, Patty Kay, and Joseph Cantor.
I'll speak on 5F, which is a warrant list. Purchase order that I'm talking about is 29405. It's from Panorama. It's 2.2 supplemental services. It's for another $125,250. I'm asking, is this added to the $750,250 that we've already in contract with them? Are we giving them more money? And as the in-services of Panorama goes on, I know teachers are saying, hey, this is about administration. It's not about us teachers. We can't be doing this with our kids. We're one-on-one with our kids. We meet our kids. Also purchase order 29473, Placeworks. It's for Reynolds modernization. Last I heard, Reynolds was off the books. And it's for RES campus replacement for $11,000. Then I look at the purchase orders. There's two of them that are 29400 for different amounts, $444 and $1,859 for building fund. That seems very vague. And that seems like you don't have two purchase orders for two different amounts. So I'm wondering about that. Also, for your presentation for the bond measure, 6A, if you looked at it, it was very precise of what exactly that we've spent our money on Prop H. You look at Measure W, and I'm asking the question, you say we're very, very vague on it. You didn't say, you just mentioned classrooms. You did mention upgrade student support facilities. And I'm asking, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Is that new $40 million administration building? Is that what that is? Also, too, when you say replace or repair, or what are you replacing? The history of Oceanside Unified School District, within the parts of Oceanside High School way back when, we never leveled the school. We never leveled the building. We never did that. We always remodelized. Also, again, on Prop H, if you would look at that, it's very, very specific on what was to be done. Now, item 8A would be why did CSBA make more changes on this item? It was only redone in 2020. I would like to know that. Also, the time, it'd be nice if it was up here or somewhere here so we could look at it and not have to worry about if we're out of time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. A couple things on general consent items. And one, I think, is that honestly there's too much thrown under general consent and that we have discussed and we don't have the time. And honestly, I really feel that we who are watching this and trying to go through the agenda do more research than sometimes you do. And so we would like to have more discussion so that we can know that you did the research and made the informed decision. Number 5B, acceptance of gifts to the district, and there were $18,000 to the DEI department. And I want to ask, I don't know who to ask, but I will give you my email. I would like a line item list of what that $18,000 is going for. Who do I ask for that? And who do I get my email? There's no response. I just need the information. Who do I go to? Okay, put that on record, then I can't go to anyone, I guess. The other thing is the 6, the proposition H and W. And I think, Dr. Norman, we agreed that it would be attached on the agenda several months ago, or a year ago. But there was nothing, and so to get this handed to us at the last minute, we don't have time to do the research. And you had said that you would try to attach everything on the agenda so we could look at it. But the point is, in looking at it on your website, on the district website, Bond H, 2008, $195 million, and it did specify exactly what it was going for and the schools that it was going for to modernize. So when the voters voted, they knew that it was going to go to Del Rio, Ditmar, Garrison, etc. Okay, and it didn't know exactly what it was going to be doing. Replace trailers, etc., modernize, repair, etc. However, on Bond W, I think it was purposely vague when the voters voted on it. They, $160 million. You've done elementary and middle school shade structures, and you've resurfaced the high school track field. That's awesome. But the rest of the $160 million, it wasn't itemized. The voters didn't know. Yes, they did vote for it, but they didn't know that they were voting for a new district building. And I'm sure if they knew that, they would have paused and possibly not voted for $160 million on Measure W. Thank you.
Board, I want to be very clear that there are no bond dollars being used towards any modernization or rebuilding of the district office on either side. Bond dollars are 100% going to school sites. We've been through an audit where our audits were perfectly approved. We have two presentations tonight, one on H and one on W, on the expenditures. We're following all guidelines as put forward, and we just received an email from the San Diego County Taxpayers Association, which you'll recall didn't support Measure W, but they just did their audit with all of our paperwork and information, and they gave us a 25 out of 27, which is really, really good. So I just want to be very clear how we're spending our money, and none of it is going towards the district office.
And thank you very much for that clarification, and it's nice that you answered that in defense.
Thank you, Patty. Next speaker,
However,
please.
I did ask a
Next
question.
speaker, please.
If you want to throw me out, go ahead, but I asked a
Next
question.
speaker, please. And who is the next speaker? You cannot give your time to another speaker, Ms. Sampson.
First of all, that was extremely rude. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just going to get right into it. I want to just mention that a couple months back, your Vice President, Ms. Deegan, made it very clear that you guys have no desire to listen to what parents or the public have to say, especially if said parents do not agree with what you board members and your lousy agenda have to say. It is really unfortunate that you members of the board have robbed us, members of the community, and the parents the opportunity to have a legitimate amount of time to share our comments on how the school board can improve children's lives and their educational experience. It is quite a shame, and the minutes should be longer. I mean, 3 minutes to speak on an entire agenda is absolutely ridiculous. Moving on, your campuses, I believe it was about 6 months ago when I first started attending these meetings, you guys passed a motion to include LGBT acceptance clubs on your school campuses. A motion that was moved thanks to the fear that Ms. Vitale and Ms. Alvarez have instilled in every one of the board members here. And I am absolutely shocked how fast it has taken off. You guys have 3 LGBT clubs on your campuses, and yet you only have 1 Christian club. You guys talk about including all of your students, but the fact that there's a ratio of 3 to 1 tells me you guys only care about including anybody who is a part of or approves of LGBT agendas on your school campuses. That's a shame that you don't have intentions of showing love and care towards your Christian students. Moving on, due to the lack of time I'm being provided, I want to briefly touch on that students should not be afraid to share anything about their mental health with their parents, because you school officials want to try and brainwash them into believing that parents should not know about it. Parents have every right to know what kind of conversations their children, who they give birth to and or raise, are discussing in regards to their mental health and well-being. Are you guys assuming that the parents are the problem instead of that they love and care for their child more than government counselors? All you guys want to do is try to take the power away from the parents. And let me assure you that as long as me and my fellow believers in Jesus Christ are around, that we will fight for truth and we will stop your said agenda. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to remind of the norms. Okay, we're going to move on to the norms of use respectful language, be respectful of all speakers, do not cause disruption, and adhere to time limits. At this point, we will move forward to call for a vote for.
I'll make a motion to approve general consent items.
Thank you. First,
I'll second, but I have a question. I want to ask staff to address a couple of the issues that were raised, if they're able to this evening, or get back to the public that raised questions on the 5F, on the panorama payments through the panorama health group. And the campus replenishment of $11,000 that was also raised by Emily Richmond.
so I have a first and a second with the special request to get back to those, but I do have also a request if Dr. Norman, if you'll speak on 5R, please, and exactly the way and the reason that we're doing that, please.
Sure. Thank you, President Alvarez. I appreciate it. M&O has been very thoughtful in making sure that we're disposing of any materials that were related to COVID to the best way possible, but there are some materials that are considered hazardous. And those are materials that we can't give away or bury or put on a truck. They're materials that we have to have taken away, and they're regulated. And so we really tried to do the very best we could to only do what we absolutely had to. We actually also gave away hand sanitizer that we saw that would be expiring. We did try to give all of that away also. And so we've tried to give away everything that we can, but there are some items that we just have to have disposed of safely.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Norman.
I would also ask that if staff could address the issue of the gifts to the district 5B on consent at this point in time or at a later point in time to get with the member of the public who asked questions about who those gifts were, what the purpose of those gifts will be.
We'll pass with. Okay, you want to speak on it now?
Yeah, I can speak to the $18,000 donation from United North County. This is an initiative. United North County is a collaboration of business, economic, civic, and faith groups across North County. We held a luncheon just over a month ago to share with folks in the United North County group about the efforts that we were taking on with student supports to combat chronic absenteeism, which is where a student misses 10% or more of their school year. And through that luncheon, they raised funds where students were able to be sponsored at $100 per student to counter chronic absenteeism. And through that luncheon, we were able to raise $18,000, all of which, 100% of which, will go to students and families to help combat chronic absenteeism, make sure that students are in school and any needs that are met to get them to school are being met with that donation from United North County. So that is money that is a complete donation, and we use totally to support our students' efforts.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And just to clarify, so I understand it too, and I didn't mean to put staff on the is there about the panorama payments off the top of the warrant list, because I don't know if we have a specific amount, but any item that's on our warrant list, the panorama contract, $125,000, the payment to them is an authorized payment, and by contract, the board has entered into previously. Whether it was a specific one that you raised this Richmond on the 750 or a different one, I can't answer that at this moment, but it's not an additional money that has not been authorized by the board in public session at some point in time.
May I add to that? I discussed with Dr. Norman our warrant list, and I did have a couple of questions, and she was able to answer to the satisfaction. And one of the questions that I had asked her was regarding repairs in terms of children nutrition. Dr. Norman, would you be gracious enough to respond to that?
Sure, I believe that it was for the Airways Commercial Services for Nutrition Services. This is paid out of Fund 13. for $45,000 as an annual contract. I'm going to check with Frank McGinnis, he's our Director of Nutrition Services, but I believe it's for services to our hoods throughout the kitchens, but I can provide further clarification.
Thank you.
I have another question. So there's concerns about the student clubs. What is the process at the high schools for students to create a club? I know at the school where I work, clubs are 100% student run and student led. So if there's enough interest, students can create a club. So could we talk about that a little bit?
Thank you so much, Trustee Akoma. So how clubs are established at any school is they are student driven. So a student has an idea about what kind of club they would like to have. We can have a club on a particular career pathway. We could have a club on a particular interest, such as, let's say, rock climbing or baseball, or whatever the students are interested in. Once the student identifies an interest area, they go and they look for a faculty advisor, and they ask the faculty advisor to sponsor that club. Once the faculty advisor is in place, the student then, we saw from our presentations from our students, they do a club rush. And they say what other students might also be interested in the same things that I'm interested in, perhaps railroading. And the students then come together and they put together a club charter. The club charter outlines when the student club will meet, who the officers of the club is, and who the advisor is. That then goes to the student ASB, the student elected officials, which are some of those students you saw today. The ASB then approves it, the principal approves it, and then comes to me and to my office, and then I'll look over the paperwork to see that it's been properly constituted with all of those approvals, and then it comes here to the Board of Education. And so that club approval process allows for students to identify like people that also have the same interests, and provides a sense of belonging for our students, which we all are very concerned about. So across any one of our schools, we have a right. I could open up right now. I just saw some of the clubs that we have, and so they are never solely. They are student driven and student interest. So from one year to another, we might have a club around railroad or model railroads, and the next year maybe not, because we may not have students with that interest. But every year we renew all of our clubs.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments at this time?
No, thank you.
So we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. We'll move on to 6, presentations, Proposition H, Citizenship Bond Oversight Committee 2022-23, annual presentation to the Board of Education and publication of the 2022-23 reports to the community.
Thank you, President Alvarez. Pursuant to Proposition 39, the Prop H Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, as well as W, must inform the public at least annually in a written report concerning the expenditure of bond proceeds. The Proposition H Citizens Bond Oversight Committee report to the community provides an overview of the expenditures of the taxpayers' funds for the school construction. For the presentation of this report, the district is in compliance with the requirements of the California Constitution, which provides that bond funds are expended only for the construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation, or replacement of school facilities, including furnishing and equipping school facilities for the acquisition or lease of real property for school facilities. No bond funds are used for any teacher or administrative salaries or other operating expenses. A list of projects to be funded was included on the ballot. An annual independent performance audit is performed, and an annual independent financial audit is performed. So the Proposition H Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for 22-23 report to the community is available to the public in English and Spanish on the district's website. And tonight we are pleased to welcome our Prop H Chair, Sherry Freeman de Leyva, who will be presenting.
Hello? Sorry. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here representing the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee for Proposition H, and to talk with you a little bit about what we've been doing and what we can look forward to. Next slide. As Dr. Norman already mentioned, in 2008, the Oceanside voters approved the, as soon as the bond measure was approved, then the committee, the CBOC committee, was then formed to ensure that the bond funds were spent in accordance with the bond measure itself. Next slide, please. There are some main responsibilities of the committee, and they include, the first responsibility is to review expenditure reports. And part of that is to make sure that the bond proceeds are used only for the purposes set forth, as Dr. Norman mentioned, and also, more importantly, to make sure that none of the proceeds from the bond are used for regular school salaries or operating expenses. The second responsibility is to inform the public about the district expenditure of the bonds, and that can be done in a number of ways, including the annual report to the Board of Education, which is what I'm doing tonight, as well as the annual report that is available on the bond website in English and Spanish, and is also available in a print version. And we also, as a HCBOC, share the findings regarding district compliance, and we'll talk a little bit about that farther on. We use and follow the roles and activities as defined by the committee bylaws, and as just a reminder that the committee does not determine which projects are funded. Next slide, please. The HCBOC membership is a group of unpaid volunteers appointed by the Board of Education. Each member may serve a maximum of 3 consecutive 2-year terms. And we can look at the next slide. The committee includes representatives from different aspects of the community. Our PTO president, our PTO and parent representative is Perry Alvarez. Bess Bronson is the vice chairperson as member at large. I am the chairperson representing the senior community. Edward Tracy represents the business community. Leticia Zurita is a parent representative, and Rose Sanchez is a member at large. At this time, we have a vacancy in regards to a representative from the Taxpayers Association, and I know that Dr. Norman and her executive assistant Leilani are working very, very hard to see if we can get that representative so that we have a full committee. Next slide. The HCBOC provides information to the community via the annual report on the website, as I mentioned, and this presentation, and the district website. All of the HCBOC meetings are open to the public, and all the reports are posted online, and the members respond to questions from the community as appropriate and as asked. Next slide, please. Our regular meetings are held via Zoom. In the district board office is what it says on the slide here, but really we've been using, we've been having virtual meetings last year and this year, and we will continue for the rest of the year. Our meetings for last year were held October 26th, February 16th, and June 7th, as you see. And as I mentioned, all the meetings are open to the public, and agendas and meetings are posted on the website. Now we will come to the pie graph. So the pie graph on the left talks about the budget breakdown. And you can see that the budget as of the end of June of this year was more than $269 million. And you can see that there, of the pie graph, the Prop H funds were $195 million, which is the amount that was discussed earlier. In addition to the 195, the original amount from the bonds, the remaining Prop G funds were more than $14 million, and then other sources such as state funding, developers' fees, and grants is also added to that budget to get to that total of more than $269 million. On the other side of the slide, you can see the expenditures as of the end of June of this year, and you can see that the expense amount was almost $209 million. The encumbered amount is the purple slice of the pie of more than $29 million. and that leaves a remaining balance of approximately $31 million. Next slide, please. Each year, a financial audit is required. An independent certified public accounting firm of Nigro & Nigro is the company that has conducted our independent performance and financial audit for 21-22. The Board of Education accepted the audit report on March 14th of 2023. Remember that this report that I'm giving you is for last year. And according to the 21-22 audit, the findings were that the district accounting systems are functioning efficiently and effectively, and the tests were conducted that resulted in 0 findings, a finding being a negative report, and no further recommendations related to the financials or performance of Prop H funds were required. The audit for 22-23 will be performed in the first quarter of 2024 for the fiscal year ending in June, this past June 2023. And all of the audit reports will be posted on the website and are posted on the website for your reference. Next slide. In 2022-23 school year, the following projects were completed using Prop H bonds. The Ditmar Child Development Center improvements, the improvements to the lighting controls at Truax Theater at El Camino High School, gym improvements at Oceanside High School, the installation of fans in the gym at Oceanside High, and upgrades to special education classrooms at Oceanside High as well. The HCBOC reviewed the bond program budget and expenditures, the bond program third-party audit report that I was just speaking about, and the bond issuance and refunding, and bond projects, including modernizations. Next slide, please. This slide, with its teeny tiny font, is an overview of all the accomplishments, all the projects that we can see were accomplished through Prop H, beginning in the school year 2009-10 and all the way up to this June of this year. I'm not going to read all of these to you, thankfully, but I would just like to point out that the first 4 years of Proposition H were really focused on the modernization of the schools that had not been modernized with the Prop G funding, including Del Rio, Santa Margarita, Libby, North Terrace, Mission, Conquest, and Lincoln Middle Schools. And then, in the past 10 years, there's been more of a focus on projects at both of the high schools, including construction and improvement in the theaters at both of those schools, the gym, the athletic fields, and special ed classrooms, as well as playground construction at different elementary sites. So, next slide. The plan for 2023-2024 for Proposition H CBOC is to continue to oversee the spending of projects using bond money, including for this year, the improvements to the El Camino High School Truax Theater, especially this year with the HVAC installation that's going to happen, which will be really great. Also, gym bleachers at Oceanside High, and ADA ramp compliance at Claire Bergner Academy. The committee will also review expenditures for long-term projects, including Pablo Tox School of the Arts modernization and Jefferson Middle School modernization, 2 schools that I'm sure are going to be so fabulous once that modernization is finished. And the other thing that we need to do this year as a committee is to recruit new HCBOC members, as I mentioned. We have our vacancy from the Taxpayers Association, and if there's anybody in the audience that would be interested, details and qualifications are listed on the website, so we hope we can find someone to join our happy little group. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my abilities, and Thank you so much, so nice to see everyone, and I think as a parent of Oceanside High School graduates and as a community member, I just would like to say how proud I am of all of the work that's been accomplished with Proposition H. It fills me with pride when I drive by schools in the district and I see how great they look, and they look so modern and so nice, and I think we all, as community members and as parents and grandparents, can be very, very proud of the work that's been accomplished, and I appreciate being allowed to be on this committee, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to welcome our Measure W Chair, Donald Gordon, who will be presenting on Measure W.
Well, thank you, Sherry. That was a great presentation. It's pretty much going to cover a lot what I got to say to you tonight, too. And I appreciate so much volunteering for this committee and being able to present to the Board of Education tonight our presentation for Measure W. For the purpose of the people in the audience, what is the Citizen Bond Oversight Committee? Proposition 39 was approved by California voters in year 2000, which requires school districts passing a bond as designated as a Prop 39 bond to establish a bond oversight committee. And I'm so grateful that I can be part of Bond Measure H. Slide. Next slide. So on November 3rd, 2020, Oceanside voters approved a bond measure authorizing the Oceanside Unified School District to issue $160 million in general obligation bond to improve school facility and grounds. So it's a relatively new bond, and unlike H, so we're kind of just beginning to get to the nitty-gritty of this one. Next slide. As you've seen before, this is what the committee does. It reviews the expenditure reports, ensuring that the bonds and the proceeds are used for their purpose, and informs the public regarding those expenditures. It's done through the website, which is an amazing website. Do take the time to go out there and take a look. And you can see by graphs and other means, both in English and Spanish, where the bonds are being spent and where those bonds are currently at the moment. The role of the activities are defined by law, and the committee does not determine which projects are funded. Next slide. So, members are unpaid volunteers, as I can attest to that. And they're appointed by the Board of Education. Thank you so much. And we've seen here that it does consist of, by law, it has to consist of various organizations and members of the community. And one of the most important is that taxpayer association. So I do hope they do get that taxpayer association person for bond measure H or Prop H. Next slide. Oops, excuse me. Our members, I want to say thank you to Robbie Calderon Haas, who's our senior community, Gigi Gleason, who's a member at large. We do have a taxpayer association representative, Robert Gleisberg, and me as the chair, and Jessica Strick as vice chair. She represents the Oceanside business. And we have 2 vacancies currently, which I'll speak to a little bit later in the presentation. Next. As you've seen before, Measure W provides information to the community through this annual report, which is posted to the website. And that's a public annual report that's going to be posted. And this annual presentation to the Board of Education, you can view that at the website, as it shows there, oside.us. And all the meetings are open to the public. All the reports are posted online and available in print as requested in English or in Spanish. Next slide. The The regular meetings were held at district office, but since COVID, we've held them virtually. And as you can see, we've had 3 meetings up to this date, and we have another one coming up near the end of October. Go ahead and take a look on the website, and you'll see that. So that's in a couple of weeks, it will be our next virtual meeting. They're all open to the public, and those agendas and minutes are posted on the website. So here's our breakdown. As you can see, we're just starting to see some progress on this measure. Unlike H, a lot of that is still sitting out there, waiting to be expensed. The budget breakdown as of June 30th of 2023, $160 million and others from other sources. We can see there, and our expenses is very minimal at the moment. Most is encumbered because they are out gathering different things that need to get started. And you can see our remaining expense as it is. Next slide. The independent certified accounting firm, Nigro did an independent audit, and the board accepted the 21-20 bond audit as reported on March 14th of 23. And I can say they do an excellent job because out of the blue I got a call one day and it was Nigro, and they wanted to just ask me, what do I feel? How's it really going out there? And just got my independent outlook on that. And of course, I just appreciated, the candor and the questions and being able to give my input to how everything's going. The 21-20 audit opinions is that the district accounting systems are functioning efficiently and effectively, and that they resulted in 0 findings and no further recommendations related to the financials or performance of bond measure funds, WW funds. 2023 audit will be performed in Q1 2024 for fiscal year ending June the 30th. Again, to look at those audit reports, you can go onto the website. Next slide, thank you. The Measure W Citizen Bond Committee reviewed the bond program budget and expenditures, the bond program third-party auditor selected, the bond issuance and refunding, and the bond projects, and including the modernizations. So the current plan to oversee the status of spending on projects taking place during the 23-24 fiscal year. Again, if you go out to the website, you can see that there are shade structures currently being built, and that there are playgrounds going in at 11 sites. Modulars are currently placed at Fusat and Libby Elementary School, and that upcoming projects will be the track and artificial turf replacement at El Camino High and Oceanside High School. Can't wait to see what that looks like. We will review the expenditures for long-term projects, which is Surfside Education Academy modernization, North Terrace School modernization rebuild, and the Jefferson Middle School modernization and new gym NPR. And again, if you look at the website, those look very beautiful indeed. At least the proposed of what those are going to look like. We are currently have 2 vacancies, one for parent guardian and one for PTO parent guardian. If you are interested in joining, anybody who's watching this online or on TV, I say please volunteer for this committee. You can find details and qualifications listed on the website. And thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you. Any questions?
No question, just
I would like to compliment both committees, Prop H as well as Commissioner W. They brought independent citizen bond oversight committees. Whenever, a bond is passed, the community is saying that it trusts the school district when we look at school bonds. And tonight's an example of how we've been very, succinctly, able to demonstrate that trust. We've been able to, as someone said, not only did we improve the schools, but we improved the community around those schools. And that is so important. As taxpayers and as voters, we're trusting us to invest in their dollars. And I think we've done that, and we're doing that. And I'm very, personally, very pleased. I think the board also is very pleased of the hard work and how dedicated these folks are to doing the job. I think was it John Mohawk talked about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and happiness being having property that increases in value. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 7, personnel, approval personnel commission appointment, classified employees representative. Staff presentation, please.
Thank you, Board President Alvarez. As you know, we are a merit system in OUSD, and we have a personnel commission made up of 3 members. One is appointed by the school district, one by CSEA, and one is a joint appointee. This year, each of them serves a 3-year cycle, and this year one of their terms is up. Anthony Alston will be finishing his term. CSEA has made a recommendation for the appointment of Martha Haas to replace him. Martha is a former employee. Once approved, she'll begin her 3-year term, which will begin December 1st and end November 30th of 2026.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
No, but I'd like to compliment Anthony for the outstanding job he did with the Personnel Commission. It's one of the few commissions I can say that I enjoy going to because it's such a warm, inviting, and informative group of people. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move on to item 7B, approval of class classification revision, library media technician. Staff presentation, please.
Thank you, President Alvarez. As the board knows, we are working on a cycle to update all of the classified job descriptions. Tonight before you, you have the job description update that reflects the current work for the library media technicians.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
The concern was brought up about the hours, the reduction from 40 to 30. Could you talk more about that? Like, is that a low down or is that something that we can reconsider now?
Change in hours would be a personnel commission item that would require reclassification. Tonight, this is the job description to reflect the work that they do.
This won't affect the hour.
There'd be no change in hours. This is just the job description.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 8, policy development. Approval revision of board policy 5141.5 mental health. Staff presentation, please. Thank you.
Thank you, President Alvarez. This board policy 5141.5 has been updated to expand the first paragraph to reflect the certain general new guidance regarding the importance of social connection and the impact of social media on health and well-being. The policy also has an update to reflect new laws which require the CDE to recommend best practices and identify training programs to address student behavioral and mental health disorders, including common psychiatric conditions and substance use to safely de-escalate crisis situations involving students with a behavioral health disorder, and to link students with referrals and to provide instruction on how to maintain student privacy and confidentiality. It also reflects an update Districts are required to notify students, parents, and guardians and caregivers with information on how to access the services. We're recommending that the board adopt or approve this revision to board policy 5141.5.
Thank you, Dr. Sparks. Any questions for staff before discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a first, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a first and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion passes. We'll move on to public comments on non-agenda items. During this portion of the meeting, agenda titled Public Comments on Non-Agenda Items, individual speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes total to address the board on non-agenda items, while the total time per speaker for a given topic may be slightly reduced in certain circumstances. All persons wishing to address the board will have a meaningful opportunity to do so during this meeting. However, the total time for public input may be limited to 20 minutes per item or topic. An individual may only turn in one public comment card for the public comments on non-agenda item per board meeting. Thank you.
Have 10 speakers. The first 3 will be Sarah Anderson, Ambriel Anson, and Juan Hernandez. Are they still here? They're students. Okay, next 3 speakers, Victoria Mariani, Joseph Cantor, and Jennifer Lee. Later.
I was in a state of shock when I read the article in the OUSD magazine about OUSD reducing their waste 7-fold. I wrote an email to the magazine and left a voicemail for waste management asking for a copy of the study. I believe both the city and the magazine are guilty of providing misinformation to the public. At my school and many other sites that I have visited for PD, the blue recycling bins are used as trash cans. Items are not sorted by staff or students, and I have personally witnessed them being emptied straight into the dumpster. In fact, I literally schlep my plastic recycling home almost every day because I cannot stand the waste. Since the city started their zero waste initiative, I have seen less recycling and more waste than ever before. At Garrison, I had 2 students who acted as our green team. Working along our custodians, they would visit participating classrooms, collect sorted recyclables, and deliver them to the large bin near the dumpster each week. But at my current school, I have seen people throw away perfectly good books, large tubs of glue, and even brand new pencil boxes. OUSD is not the pinnacle of environmental success that the OUSD magazine in the city proclaims. I am told by my colleagues that the schools on Camp Pendleton recycle and have systems in place to support it. We can thank Uncle Sam for that, not district leadership. I urge the board to visit non-based schools and see the blatant waste and lack of recycling at those sites. Topic 2, construction at Pablo Top. It's moving extremely slow, and it continues to be stressful. Students and staff have to periodically contend with broken bathrooms and water fountains, which makes life challenging, especially for the youngest scholar. I'm teaching kindergarten right now, it's really hard. I find it absurd that the district and the architectural firm protested and whined about delaying work and filing new permits to tuck the proposed metal HVAC duct in the new NPR, but had no problem delaying the project to file permits to remove classroom plans for the 2Cs classes that moved to Palmquest. And by the way, that information was never released to the school, not even to the remodeling committee, because I'm on it. Yet another example of our leadership's lack of transparency. And the last topic, the most relevant issue that plagues OUSD currently is the 78 unfilled instructional aid positions. There are more and more TK kindergarten and first grade students showing up with special needs at our schools across the district. In order to support these students appropriately and not compromise the quality of instruction in our classrooms, teachers need adequate support from IAs. HR, Dr. Montoya, and Mr. Sakimi cannot continue to meet our requests and pleas for help with the tired old mantra of, the positions are unfilled. This is unacceptable. Something needs to be done. Raise the pay for instructional aides. Deploy the TOSAs, program specialists, and directors to go to the site and help hands-on. It is unfair for Dr. Vitale and the executive cabinet to expect classroom teachers to just suck it up. I implore the board to do away with Me Too raises for admin, their pay, do away with the $10,000 longevity stipend, spend that money to raise the pay for instructional aides, and direct HR to immediately employ strategies to attract and fill an adequate number of IAs to support classroom teachers and meet instructional minutes for our students that are mandated by law.
Well, I just want to start out with something I haven't had the chance to address in previous meetings. I was a former student of Reynolds Elementary School, and I just want to say it's quite a shame that you guys, members of the board, passed a motion a few months back to close that school down just so you could build yourselves a beautiful new office. I'm sure none of you are probably former students there, which is why you probably had no problem passing that motion. Former students and current students were not even given the chance to have their opinions and voices heard or valued, nor were public or the parents, and now you guys have put these students into crowded schools, as previously mentioned at the last meeting, making their lives and the parents' lives a lot more difficult. My question is, do you guys even care about how you guys are affecting the lives of these people? Doesn't seem to me. Moving on, I want to let you all know that my Savior, Jesus Christ, has died for you and the intentional sins you guys are walking in, and or may be walking in. And I want you guys to know that the Bible says the wages you have earned for your sin is death. However, Jesus did come and died for you so that you can be forgiven. And if you wish to know more, I'm more than happy, and I'm sure my fellow believers behind me would be more than happy to talk to you. As a member of the community as well that has been victimized by LGBT with a mother who intentionally left my father so she could pursue her passions to be a lesbian, only to traumatize me and my family as a result. Her own passions mattered more to her than truth, and that seems to be the case for you as well, Miss Vitale. Her own passions mattered more to her than truth. Your students deserve to know what truth is, and they deserve to be children. They can only be a child once. I know I miss my childhood every day, and these kids have a right to enjoy their childhood as well. They can only be a child once, so my encouragement is let them be kids, take away the stupid pornographic materials and LGBT agendas, and let them receive the education that my tax dollars and these tax dollars of the people behind me are supposed to be providing for them. Thank you.
Good evening, board members and school district administrators. My name is Jennifer Ligon. I am a paraprofessional at Poplar Talk Elementary School and a former volunteer and parent of OUSD. On September 17th, I reached out in an email to school board members asking them for help for our special education staff and students. With no across the schools in OUSD, we are understaffed and over our caseloads and continue to have kids qualifying to be tested for an IEP. In some cases, we are told that we just have to deal with it. Being understaffed is at many school districts. I'm tired of hearing this. The system is broken, and we as a school district need to fix it. I've spoken to other paraprofessionals in the district, and they have stated to me that their students, just like ours, are not receiving their full services. Examples: not meeting the required SAI meetings, kids who should have one-on-one paraprofessionals not having them, extreme behaviors not being fully addressed because we don't have enough staff. Last I heard, we have 78 paraprofessionals positions that are open. Why is that? I've worked for the school district for 12 years. I started out at $14.70 an hour. I work now for maybe $22 an hour, and you can go down to McDonald's and they're talking about giving them a pay raise to $20 an hour. They make $2 less than what I make. And I have way more responsibility. I'm a mandated reporter. I genuinely care about these kids and the families. And it's disgusting that this is going on. Absolutely disgusting. And I promise I wasn't going to cry.
Got this, Ken?
The list goes on. And WSD is not in compliance when it comes to our special education program. Our kids are the ones that suffer. We You have a lot of staff in this district, a lot of paraprofessionals that feel the same. Our staff genuinely cares about our students. Our special education staff is exhausted, discouraged, and frustrated. Exhausted because we are understaffed and sometimes doing the job of two people. I am physically and mentally worn out. I work at Pablo Talk too. And we have mice in our classrooms. We have ceilings that are falling apart. Our kids don't deserve that.
And Juan Hernandez.
Hello, I'm Sarah Anderson. I'm a student at the Environmental Science pathway. Over the summer, there was an enrichment program for the electric car build where we would meet 4 times a week. And even though I had a very eventful summer, the build was the top highlight. I enjoyed getting there and learning how to build a car, which was a very important life skill in general. Not to mention, it is an electric car, the future of transportation itself. I ride my bike to school 4 out of 5 days. And it has really inspired me to learn alternative transportation methods, besides just a normal gas-run car. I cannot stress enough how important it is to be included in the pathway. It was a privilege to be able to get the car at all, and then to be able to have a hands-on activity in the classroom, where many people could benefit and learn from the experience. So I would like to continue this privilege and experience to build the car. I have friends and classmates in the pathway in their senior year, and I, in my junior year, completing the capstone course, would love to be able to have the space to build this electric car, not only for the fun of it, but for the knowledge and the experience it provides the environmental engineering pathway. If we want a clearer and greener, more environmentally friendly future, it has to start now, and it has to start here in the education system, and it starts with you as board members. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Gabrielle Anton, and I'm a junior at Oceanside High School. I'm here today because I, like Sarah, wanted to share something very important to me related to my pathway. I'm also a part of the Environmental Science Pathway at OHS and a joint club which is called Sustainable Pirates. This program is something that I'm incredibly passionate about, and so I'm glad to say that we've gained a new and exciting opportunity, which is to build our own street-legal electric car. This summer, myself and some of my peers, including Sarah, spent hours building the car, bolting in brake calipers, installing master cylinders, wiring the control box, etc. And throughout the entire experience, I had this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for the opportunity to be able to have fun actually getting my hands dirty, making something related to a topic I care so much about that has a real-world impact was really exciting. I could go on about how much this project means to me, but as much as I wish I was, I'm not just here to share our successes. Although we were close to being completely finished with the car by the end of summer vacation, for months we've been at a complete standstill and it remains incomplete. The reason for this is a lack of space. Previously, my group had been working in a small storage bunker on campus. However, with the start of school, even this is no longer an option and no further accommodations have been made. And while this is disappointing for my club, there is more at stake. I'm currently in the 3rd and final course of the pathway, and our goal had been for my class to be the first to build the car. The plan had been for us to be starting by the beginning of October. Of course, this time has come and gone, and no progress has been made at all. With the new block schedule implemented in OHS, the class finishes within the end of the semester, so there are only a few months left, and the chances of our goal being met are looking slim. And it's frustrating. I'm frustrated that we've been working exclusively out of a cramped bunker, where every day we'd pull out all of our tools and tables, and at the end of the day, we'd have to hide them away again to make room for the golf carts that share the space with us. I'm frustrated that for months, our project has been sitting gathering rust, and nobody seems to even know that it exists. And I'm frustrated on behalf of my senior friends in the class, who are very excited to participate in this unique opportunity, who may never get the chance. I care so much about this program, and it sparked my passion for environmental science. The things that have come of it have honestly changed my life. It was always my hope that by the time I left it, this program would hold even more opportunities than when I first started. But if things fail to change, this likely will not be the case. It is for this reason that I'm asking each of you who has kindly listened to my experience to look into this issue and do what you can to help us get the space we need to further our progress and make our pathway even better than it already is. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, board members and district leaders. My name is Juan Hernandez. I'm a teacher at Oceanside High School, also part of the Environmental Science Pathway. And you may recognize me from some of the other activities our Environmental Science Pathway students have participated in. For example, we built a solar wind turbine on campus. We have brought our greenhouse back online with the aeroponic tower gardens. And we created an award-winning team and celebrated them for the Forestry Challenge competition last year. But tonight, as you heard, I'm here to talk to you about another project we've started. And thanks to CTE funding and our supportive school district and district staff, we purchased the Switch electric vehicle kit last year. And as you've heard this past summer, 3 students, 2 of them here tonight, worked with me to build the car in a space that our custodial staff created for us. They were awesome for doing that. And we knew this was only temporary, of course, because as the space is needed for important storage of facility, for books, for furniture, supplies, and deliveries throughout the school year. So it was suggested to us that we look at recovering the old woodshop space on campus for a permanent work and storage facility. We do realize that doing this means displacing the staff and the equipment that currently operates out of this space. Our campus, in full honesty, is beautiful. And I know that part of the reason is because we have our landscape and maintenance crews that have access to this equipment that enables them to do an amazing job on our campus. However, I would love the opportunity to speak with the crews and, of course, their supervisors and any of you who want to be part of the conversation about exploring an option that allows them to continue doing this amazing work on our campus while still affording our students the opportunity to continue building this electric car. So to close, I'll ask you to picture this scene. It's the Oceanside Independence Parade. You're riding in an electric vehicle that our students built, waving to the crowd, right? Waving to the crowd. And you're doing so with so much pride and admiration for their work and enjoying the moment knowing that the parade patrons are so impressed with the opportunities that you have all created and to help create for our students. And so I just ask you that we find a way to work together to really make this vision come true. Thank you.
Next 3 speakers, Emily Richmond, Albert Cruz, and Jesse Stomp.
My topic is on restorative justice. On 8/15/2022, I was told there was no restorative justice training the previous year, but there were 690 trained. In 2020, I understand a teacher wrote an article called Restorative Injustice, and teachers felt that the book, What Do We Still Do That?, given to them with strategies, was mostly geared toward elementary and SPED, and not sure why it was provided to secondary staff. Now, 23-24 school year, restorative justice continues not working in our high schools. In the 22-23 Safe School Action Plans were buried in the June 27 board meeting under general consent, item 3T. The lack of transparency continues in the Oceanside Unified School District playbook. Facts from the Safe School Action Plan for Oceanside High School. There were 77 fights/threats. Weapons at school, there was 10 with knives and 3 weapons classified as others, plus 47 drug apprehensions and 51 cases of intimidation/harassment. Facts from El Camino High School, there was 154 fights. Of those, 88 were threats and 66 were assaults. Weapons at school, there was 2 with firearms, 15 with knives, and 7 weapons classified as others, plus 70 drug apprehensions. Offenses have increased 2, 3, and even 9 times of the past years. Both high schools mentioned that their goals are restorative justice, but it's not clear and does not state what has not worked in the past, and what has to happen to make restorative justice work at our high schools. I'm hoping you'll look at the plans that are passed and the ones that are coming, and make our high schools safe. There's a lot going on, even, a month ago at El Camino with all the police cars. I know there's a lot to ask of you, but our students need to be safe, and they need to have programs that work for the high schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
My name was called and Albert Cruz, and primarily learning about the meeting. This is my first time as a participant. I respectfully wanted to thank you for facilitating this meeting, and the primary reason I chose to attend is as an outsider that has never participated, is what would compel me to bring my child to Oceanside School District. And I think sometimes we have to put ourselves in that position as, as a former administrator or a parent. I have choices. Why would I bring my child to Oceanside School District as opposed to some other program? And based on what I'm hearing today, I have conflicting ideas about that. I'm sure that every parent is probably going through some of this themselves. But my question, which I noted in my form, was related to the infringement from the state and the threats that the state continues to impose upon not only Oceanside School District, but many others, some of which I've already heard about, including, curriculum, forceful teaching, specific materials that most parents would not approve of. And so what influence does that have on the board? That's one. And are we ourselves, as yourselves as administrators, considering how to push back if you have to? And number two is, the quality of our education, our performance, and our test scores, does it represent really what the board and the parents in this district really want? And if it doesn't, then something's got to change. So, if I'm going to bring my children or grandchildren to Oceanside School District, these are the things that I would be looking for. And my ignorance, I haven't done enough research yet, but I wanted to understand where to look for that information, and it's something that's not sugar-coated or dressed up in terms of ranking, quality, performance, and the curriculum that K through 8 or K through 12 children experience in your district. So that's basically the thought I want to leave you with. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jesse, stop.
Can I just pass this down to you guys? I trust you guys with my phone, so just to take a look at it. Pass it on down. So, yeah, my name is Jesse Stock, so just wanted to say thank you guys for taking the time to do this. My daughter is a student, Olivia Stock McKinney, and she was student of the month, like straight A's. Like, that's crazy because I was like a C student, so thank you guys for that involvement. So you're doing something right there. I want to say thank you for that. What I'm showing the committee here is there's a signage the LGBTQ and it says love is love. Now, I'm not afraid of that flag or anything like that. But what I wanted to ask you guys is that, so when my daughter comes to class every day, I mean, that's something that she sees, and religiously, that's something, it's definitely, we don't agree with that, and I don't expect anyone to believe what I believe at all. I mean, people are entitled to free will to do what they want, generally. But when I think the board has to ask the question is, okay, why are we favoring a certain type of belief? And then what it says is, it says love is love. Now, that may sound nice, but that's actually, it's projecting a morality, okay? And for somebody who is religious, it's actually directly opposed to what we believe, okay? So that's a certain morality that's being projected every day, okay? And we want to be equal and fair, right?
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
we have to, and I will say, nobody wants to, because I did talk to one of the people there, and they were talking about, well, bullying, and nobody wants their kid bullied. Absolutely. We all agree with that. Well, I would hope we won't, So regardless of the reason, but I believe there's other ways that the school district can do that without imposing and, choosing a particular set of beliefs, okay?
Yes.
So just something I think for you guys to think about, and I think it would make people generally a lot more happy across the board if we're looking at it, how to make things fair. I'm sure that you wouldn't want to pick a different type of belief and putting that on other people. So that's just one of the things I came up with, and then that's all the time I have. But I just want to say hi, nice to meet all you guys. So I'm from Bonsall, so Bonsall School District, I work there, so hi.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Allison.
Clarifying question, was that in our Oceanside schools? Was that picture from an Oceanside classroom? From a teacher in Oceanside?
Yeah, it's posted on the front door there.
Perfect, thank you.
And I just talked to the principal there, and she said that that's fine, that's what they're raising, and so that's why I was told to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. Allison mother of two in the district and parent advocate. I wanted to revisit the parental rights pledge I brought forth to you all. Did anyone sign it? Anyone? I didn't think so. Don? I'm not going to hold my breath. Immediately after I had read the pledge and used Nancy Licona, my district board member, as an example, she had this to say, quote, I would like to state, just to clarify, those are not my words. It could be misleading. And in addition, all of those districts are in a lawsuit because they are violating California law. Ms. Licona, your words are misleading. As a matter of fact, it is one school district being challenged, Chino Valley. This is the sad and harsh reality to what we, the parents of these California school districts, are actually up against. And that is school board members such as Nancy Licona and all of you that are sitting up there. You're just not on the side of parental rights. As a matter of fact, you're on the side of the Sacramento bullies, Bonta, Thurman, Newsom. Just 2 days after our school board meeting, on September 14th, Honorable Judge Roger T. Benitez issued an injunction against Escondido School District requiring teachers to keep a student's gender identity a secret from their parents. I'd like to read a couple excerpts from the declaration by the plaintiffs that they brought in experts of the field of children and adolescents dealing with gender identity related issues, Dr. Erica E. Anderson. As a matter of fact, Dr. Erica E. Anderson describes herself as a transgender woman. Anderson's testimony is summarized in the following excerpts. Quote, a child or adolescent who exhibits or a desire to change name and pronouns should receive a careful professional assessment prior to transitioning, end quote. And she goes on to say, quote, parental involvement is necessary to obtain professional assistance for a child or adolescent experiencing gender in concurrence to provide accurate diagnosis and to treat any gender dysphoria or other coexisting conditions. A school-facilitated transition without parental consent interferes with parents' ability to pursue a careful assessment and/or therapeutic approach prior to the transitioning and prevents parents from making the decision about whether transition will be the best for their child and creates an unnecessary tension in the parent-child relationship. I mean, come on guys, this is common sense. Let's get this parent notification.
on. I mean, you guys didn't even sign it. It's very pathetic, and it goes to show where you guys stand. And these coming elections, it's common sense, and there's plenty of studies out there. 91% believe parents on a report by Rasmussen, and not the government have the bigger responsibility to raise. Thank you.
And was that the last one? Yes, thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank all of our members for being here and asking and being a part of this meeting. Thank you to staff, and I adjourn this meeting at 7:54. Thank you.